Welcome back, guys, to Mark's Racing Engines, Mark and Misty's Performance. I got a little engine that we're doing here. I thought this would be a good video for the new guys. Seasoned guys won't even need to watch this video. This is for you new guys that don't know. We're talking about rockers, guide plates, screw and studs, that sort of thing today. So what I'm working on here right now is a Vortec headed engine. I'll show you here in just a minute. But I want to show you the differences in the types of rocker arms that come on these things. So in the old days, we had push rod slots, and I'm going to show you that on the cylinder head in just a minute. And we had push rod slots that would guide the push rod to hold the rocker in the right spot. What we would do is we would drill that out, cut them for screw and studs and guide plates, and that's what we did. And then GM came out with the LT1 and the Vortec headed engine that used these self-aligning rockers. There's no push rod guide slot in the head. It's just drilled out, and then the rocker itself is guided by these two little slots. It just sits on the valve, and that's what holds it in place. This is the old style rocker, stock rocker. Now when you get into roller rockers, this is just a regular old run-of-the-mill roller rocker. Now this roller rocker requires, some sort of guide, either the guide slot in the head, which I don't recommend, or screw and studs and the guide plates. Then you have this rocker, which is a guided rocker. And you can see where the valve sits in here like this. I'll bring you in here in just a minute. We'll show you a close-up of how that works. Okay. The other thing is the stock nuts versus poly locks, or Posi locks is what they're actually supposed to be called, is a Posi lock. This is a Posi lock, or a type of one. There's several types out there. There's also 3/8 and 7/16 rocker studs. If you change them in a small block Chevy. This is a stock nut. This is what you want to get away from for any kind of high performance anything, because they will back off. This is what you want to run right here. Posi stock, poly lock, whatever you want to call it. And you need to get the right ones for the application. These right here are actually made for stock type rockers. Let me bring you in and I'll show you here. Okay, so here let me get around this engine here. So this, like I said, this is a Vortec headed engine. Now I have cut this one for screw and studs, and I hope you can see that on the camera. Yes, I've cut this one for screw and studs. By the way, screw and studs never run anything but ARP. ARP is the only stud to run, period, bar none. Don't care what anybody says. ARP, that's it. But anyway, I've cut these for studs. And I did not cut these for guide plates because we're running stock self-aligning rockers. That's what the customer wanted to run. But the way this works is this self-aligning part right here, it just sits on the valve like so, and that's what keeps the rocker from sliding off. Let me get a better angle, I guess. I don't know if I can. Yeah, so that just keeps that from sliding off the end of the valve. Yeah, it's kind of sketchy, but it works. And anyway, now if you'll notice in this head, I don't know if you can see it, and I'm not tall enough to look. Let's see. In this head right here, there is, that's just drilled out right there where the push rod goes through. I hope you can see that. It's just a hole there. Now you can, the self-aligning roller rockers, like I said, it's got those right there that hold it in place. You got to have enough valve stem up there too. You want to make sure on self-aligning rockers that the alignment deals on the side don't hit the retainer or the locks. But as you can see, this roller rocker, it's locked into place right there too. But if you was to put a old style rocker with no guide on it on there, this is what it would do, right? If I find one. So if you put that on there, there is nothing to hold that rocker from sliding back and forth. And that's bad. Very bad. Very, 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 very bad. Don't do that. Same thing with the roller rocker. Roller rocker is the same way. Nothing to hold it. So, make sure you use the right rockers for the right application. Alright, now I'm going to move you over here to these cylinders and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, now if you look at this head right here, and I've got it zoomed in, you can see the slot. Where is it at? Right there. That is the pushrod slot. And if you notice how it's kind of oval looking and not just round, that's because it guides the pushrod. It keeps it from, well, I'm on the wrong one. It keeps it from moving back and forth. It can't really go side to side. All right, so when we drill these out for screw-in studs and guide plates, and I'll show you a head that's been done that way, then we get to what we got here. Now, this is a Vortec head, so it was, already drilled, but this is what we would do to a head like this one over here. We would drill that out, cut the guide, pull the studs out, cut the guide boss down, and depending on if we're running guide plates or not, and what studs we're running, then we would cut this for screw-in studs and guide plates. Which the guide plate, dropping stuff. So your guide plate goes on. Now you can see these two holes here, and you can see that the pushrod just kind of flops around in there. So what the guide plate does is and there's two different kinds. There's a stepped up guide plate and there's a flat guide plate. Either one of them will work, but I actually prefer the stepped ones. But anyway, these screw in here like this, and they hold the guide plate. I'm not going to screw them all the way down, but you get the idea. And then that guide plate is what guides the pushrod. Now, if that hole is not drilled underneath that guide plate, and I've seen that a lot where machine shops forget to drill it, it will cause the pushrod to bind up against the guide plate, and it will eat the pushrod up almost immediately. That's something else you need to know. If you're running guide plates, you must run a hardened pushrod. And some of most of the later model ones are hardened from the factory, but you really need to run a good pushrod if you're going to run guide plates, because if you don't, it will eat them up. The guide plates will. So make sure you run a hardened pushrod. So anyway, that's just a short, stupid little video for the beginners out there to give you the basics on the rockers and whatever's available for a small block Chevrolet. Like I said, I know there's a lot of new guys coming in, and there's a lot of stuff on LSs, but small blocks are kind of going away. But there's a lot of people still running them, so just stuff that you need to be aware of if you're building your own small block Chevrolet, and the valve train, and what you need to tell the machine shop or whatever. Anyway, if you have any questions, my number's on the screen. Feel free to call me or email me or whatever. But anyway, that's all I got for you today. Get out there and build something. God bless all of you. See you around.